Hi, I'm Martin, and I have a big problem. This is the pile. As you can see, I buy way too many anime models, and I gotta get these guys out of their boxes. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna open all these boxes just for you. Welcome to Cate Frenzy. Hello everypony, welcome back to Cate Frenzy Season 2 Episode 13. Today we are covering Twilight Sparkle in the My Little Pony Bishoujo line from Kotobukiya. As you may have noticed, I've already taken her out of the cardboard box, and that's because I opened this over a year ago, because this figure came out in 2019, and that's just as far back as the pile can go. I'm sure I have figures even further back than 2019 still up in the pile. So let's talk about her box. So Twilight Sparkle is from Kotobukiya, and just like the other My Little Pony boxes, the first thing you want to see is that she has the rainbow. All of the My Little Pony boxes have the special rainbow, and the pony boxes all have their individual colors. So for Twilight Sparkle, we have 3 different shades of purple as her rainbow. We have a big giant front window. We have a little piece of artwork by Shunya Yamashita. And then on the side, normally it's a cutie mark on the side, but for this one, they decided to do a book. And I think the reason for that is because her cutie mark is a star, and I think the star would be a little bit too hard to see what's inside. So I think they chose the book just because it's big and wide, you can see a little bit more of the model. So that's a good decision on their part, I think. Now on the back, you have pictures of what the figure will look like, and on this side you have the art by Shunya Yamashita, the lead designer for the Bishoujo line of Kotobukiya. Then on the top, you also have the My Little Pony logo, as well as a picture of Twilight, and you also have that giant window to see inside to the figure. The bottom, pretty much the same as the other boxes, you just have your cautionary information as well as which company created it. Again, Kotobukiya is the creators behind this one. Now, the box itself isn't anything special, it's just like Sunset's box or Applejack's box. It also has the, I call it the wallpaper. That is the My Little Pony wallpaper. Basically, it's all the cutie marks. You see like Fluttershy's butterflies, you see Pinkie Pie's balloons, Applejack's apples, Rarity's diamonds. And again, this is a good way to tie in all the figures together. I do wish that they would be a little bit more unique to the character itself, but you know, that just ties all the boxes together, so not a really big deal. As with the main 6, which are the main 6 characters of My Little Pony, they all have the similar pattern. Sunset's one, as I mentioned in her video, has a different pattern which is all her own. So that just sets the boxes apart just a little bit. Overall, the box isn't too bad. I'm going to give the box 8 out of 10, just like the other boxes, because it's pretty much the same box with different people on it. So that's what I'll give that box. We can go to packaging now. So for packaging, there is a piece of tape on the top, which I'll just cut open now. Open her up. Now the back side of the box has the scallop top here, like that little roof thing, which I always think is kind of cool. And then get her out of her box. Okay. Inside the box, we have the My Little Pony logo, as well as purple bubbles with white stars and stuff inside the box itself. We have her in a piece of plastic, 2 pieces together, and then there's tape that goes all the way around on the edges, sealing her in. Once again, we have that face window. Now again, I'm not a big fan of the face window, because if something pierces the box, the first thing that will get hit is going to be that face. I think that's a big problem, especially when it comes to protection of the model. And I do wish that there was some kind of bubble wrap. I don't seem to see any bubble wrap. It's just basically a plastic bag covering her body. Bubble wrap is good because it protects really fragile parts, especially like pieces like her big piece of hair. I feel like if anything was sharp, like just pierced right through, it would definitely hurt her face because it's in that big giant window. Let's just get her open from the sides. So there's tape all the way around, like I mentioned. And then we just have to pop her out of her packaging. So we have Twilight in a bag. Okay. And then there is a bag over her hair. That's kind of unique. And then we also have a bag over the pony part. And the pony part, her horn was actually poking through her bag. So that's pretty funny. Packaging wise, you just have plastic covering her. It's not super great, but it's still protected enough. So this packaging will get like an 8 out of 10. Let's talk about Twilight Sparkle's stats. Twilight Sparkle comes to us from Kotobukiya. It's part of the My Little Pony Bishoujo line. She was originally from October 2019, so it's been well over a year. She's very hard to come by now. You can get a new version of her, which is the glitter version. She costs just about $109 Canadian. That's as of current exchange rate. So that means she was a little bit cheaper back in 2019 because during that time, the economy wasn't gone to crap because of coronavirus. She stands just over 9 inches in height, and her base is 4 inches. Alright, now before I begin the sculpt and paint portion of the review, I just want to talk about one little small thing I noticed while I was talking about the stats. Here is Applejack's box. Here's Twilight's box. As you can see, Twilight's box is a little bit longer lengthwise, and if you look at this way, it's also slightly more narrow than Applejack's box, which means that if you're trying to stack this somewhere in a box or in a shelf, they are not equal in length, which means that they're going to be really annoying to stack on a shelf or in somewhere else like a box for compartment's sake. So if you're a collector, you should know that the boxes don't match in size. Twilight's box is similar to Sunset's in the length and the depth. Applejack, Fluttershy, Rarity, Pinkie Pie probably have smaller boxes than Twilight and Sunset because they're the main characters of their respective series. So we can now move on to the sculpt and the paint. Right off the bat, you can tell that they put way more effort into this Twilight Sparkle than they did with the other figures, because there's a couple different things that set her a little bit apart, and her wider box is one of the first indications of that. So for Twilight, she has amazing hair. It is really quite pretty. There is a great amount of detail work in her hair, and you can see that the hair goes from left to right, and it has this big giant whip that goes all around her hair. Her hair is made up of 3 different shades. We have the dark indigo, we have the violet in the bang, and then we also have the magenta that goes swerving all around the side of her back of her hair. The figure itself looks spectacular with the hair. Now, with hair that's out this far on the figure, usually it means that the corners of the hair, like right here where the hair ends, usually are a bit thinner because that's how animated hair is drawn, and that usually is a problem when you're shipping because you want to make sure that the hair is protected, which is why I recommended they had bubble wrap on the hair. It's not a major problem with the hair, but like it is something that I do wish when you see longer hair that you have something else protecting the hair itself. Now, this one you can pretty much tell that it's like one giant mold. So they just have one big piece that they just mold out into like a cast. And when they cast the hair, usually it's one big piece, and then the other side they'll like, smooth it out to make sure everything looks smooth on it. They did small shortcuts where the inner side of the hair, I'll zoom in, it shows that there's are little bits of plastic that hasn't been completely taken out yet, so it's not as smooth. Now, it's not really noticeable, especially like from this distance. You don't really notice, especially because her hair is that dark indigo color, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. I have a minor gripe with her face. Now, I do like the face, but I feel like the nose is too high from the mouth, so it looks a little bit off in my opinion. And not to mention, if you turn it sideways, the face actually looks a little bit too pushed back, like it doesn't have much feature to it. I think that is one reason why I do not like this face. Kinda had the same problem with Sunset Shimmer, where the face wasn't as nice. It might also just be my personal opinion on like how faces should look for this line. And the glasses, they're great. They're like this shiny black plastic, and they do have this clear like plastic or acrylic in there too, and it does have a little sheen to it, so it does add a little bit of extra effect to the figure, so that's awesome. Having her in the pose where she's like, this is good, because I'm always fixing my glasses like this. When you have anime characters that fix their glasses, it usually means a little bit more nerdy because they're adjusting their vision so they can correct you on something like, actually, if I looked at that, then I don't think it's the right thing to say. So I have a confession to make. For Twilight Sparkle, I'm not actually a huge fan of Twilight. I actually enjoy every other pony more than Twilight. And I kind of feel bad for that because, like, I feel like you should like her as a main character. Like, I mean, I like Twilight, but I feel like every other character is just more interesting than Twilight. And she has some good songs, but I pretty much like everybody else. I mean, I even like Sunset Shimmer more than Twilight. And like her pose, it's very nice because it actually shows a little bit of motion, like she's moving forward. It's a great thing for her character because Twilight Sparkle was stuck in a rut and she had no friends and she was studying her book. She's a big bookworm. And she's reading The Elements of Harmony, which is this book in her hand right here. The Elements of Harmony is the book that starts off the entire lore of the My Little Pony universe. It talks about Equestria and how it was made, and how, like, Princess Celestia and her sister Princess Luna had this big giant fight, and tells you all about this information. She vowed that she would spread the land in eternal night. Reluctantly, the elder sister harnessed the most powerful magic known to ponydom, the Elements of Harmony. Using the magic of the Elements of Harmony, she defeated her younger sister and banished her permanently in the moon. The elder sister took on responsibility for both sun and moon, and harmony has been maintained in Equestria for generations since. That is some anime bullshit. The detail on the book is actually quite nice. It looks very close to the one in the original series, and I mean, like, even I have like my own copy of The Elements of Harmony that they gave out as well. It's almost like a miniature scale version of it, and it's actually really cool to see that. Kotobukiya is always really good at making little small accessories that have a lot of detail into it, and I really quite appreciate that, especially for something like this where it's a Western property. They took the time and effort to make that effort and make the book look good. Her outfit's good too because it's like the European style schoolgirl outfit because it has the big poofy sleeve. Poofy sleeves in anime and in design like this means usually that the character is a little bit more refined, a little bit more tight. So like throughout the series, Twilight just gets crazier and crazier, and I feel like she's on the verge of having a mental breakdown every time I see her. And you know what? It's like in Generation 5, they said that the magic of friendship is gone and everybody's forgotten about it. Maybe because like Twilight went crazy and killed everybody. Twilight is definitely like a very compulsive and orderly person, so having these poofy sleeves gives her a little bit of elegance, but also a little bit of like nature to her character, so it was a good design choice for the character herself. She does have the big giant bow on it too, which is just brightly colored, no shading on that one, and she also has a button work. There is great folds in the fabric. It has a lot of detail there. It does look really nice in general from the side and from this other side here, and it's really quite nice. And you can see from this side she has her cutie mark. Now for Twilight, her cutie mark is this star, and the star for her is like the spark of magic that ignites everybody's life around her. So Twilight's purpose basically is like to spark joy. Does that mean she's Marie Kondo? The skirt, it's awesome. The skirt's great. I love the skirt. The skirt has lots of different bumps and ridges on it. It's a like pleated skirt, and there's all sorts of different shapes. Like it's not just one solid like shape going up and down. It's like kind of all around. There's different lengths to where it is and how it waves out, so it really adds that whole motion aspect to the character. For the cutie mark on the side of the skirt, there is a minor paint issue. It's like a slight small paint that's flicked off. It's not a huge issue underneath the skirt. Now I mentioned with Applejack that Applejack doesn't have anything underneath because her legs are so close together, but for Twilight they actually decided to give her like special underwear. So normally for anime models they have like the white bikini style underwear where it's just like a flat white. For this one, they actually gave it a little bit of detail. It's actually like ruffled, and again that adds a little bit to her design choice style because like this is more of a European design, and the ruffled underwear is kind of European at least to me. That's what I would think, like it's more of a European thing. So whenever they design something like that you don't even see, like that's definitely a sign of quality assurance. The legs on all the Bishoujos look pretty much similar, but you know there's a little bit of shading on the skin for some texture work as well, and the socks have a little bit of like bunch underneath the leg, and it does have a little bit of realistic nature to it because of that. The shoes are fairly simple. Again, they're kind of that European style school shoe. And then they also have the Twilight Sparkle logo on it, the cutie mark. As for Twilight Sparkle in her pony form, it is spectacular. This is what you normally see in like vector art of My Little Pony, especially like in the My Little Pony movie. This picture kind of was on all the posters. I've always looked at that picture and been like, yeah, that's just the vector art, but like in 3D format, it looks great. It actually has a lot of different motion to it, and it looks really good because the hair is flowing in the wind. It's got lots of movement, and the bangs are all wild and unkept because she's moving forward in her life, and that's the whole thing with Twilight. Twilight is moving forward in her life after being stuck at home. I think that is a really small detail that I want to mention about this figure. And a cool thing too is that they actually added in these clear effect pieces. Twilight's the only one that has that. I mean, she's the main character, so she deserves an extra little flair to her, and that's what's great about this figure. The horn's super sharp. Like as you saw, like it broke through the packaging when I was opening it, so like it's sharp. You can poke someone's eye out with this. Again, not meant for children. This is an adult collector's toy, even though it's My Little Pony. It's for adult collectors. Like me. But generally speaking, like it's a good figure. I like it a lot. The pony is like probably my favorite out of the ponies so far. It's just so happy and there's so much flow to it. The wings are really pretty. The hair is great. I think the bangs, maybe they're a little bit lower. It might look a bit more full, but I mean, she's running forward, so them being up in the sky like that is great. Her eyes have the 3D eyelashes, so that's always a fun part of these My Little Pony figures. And overall, generally speaking, like the cutie mark on it on this side is quite good as well. No issue there. It's great. There's like barely anything wrong with this figure. These bases, I don't know how they do it. Look how thin this base is. How the hell do these little things keep this heavy figure from moving? I don't understand. What do they do to do it like that? Like this is some crazy like technology here. Base is simple. It's just the cutie mark pictures. So there's like the purple star and the white star and the magenta star. So like nothing spectacular. It's the same width as like the Applejack base. Sometimes it has a wider base than Twilight. How come she gets a wider base? Most of the issues I have with this are just personal problems. Like I don't like her face. Well, actually I like her face, just not her nose. I don't like her nose. And yeah, it's a great figure. The colors are nice. The blue is a great contrast between the purple and the indigo. And the base being purple is perfectly fine matching with the Twilight Sparkle figure. Sculpt wise, I think this one definitely deserves a 9 out of 10 because it has a great look to it overall. It just loses points personally because of the face and the hair. Paint wise, this one is really good. I'm gonna give paint 9 out of 10. Again, the only small issue I have is just the small blotches of paint. And I didn't really mention this, but there are slight hints of like white throughout the paint that's missing, but like it's not really important. And I mean, there's a little bit of bleeding on the magenta part right here underneath the hair, like that goes into the purple, but like it's super not noticeable, and like, you can always just chalk that up to like it's really thin, so like you don't expect them to be like super perfect. So for overall appeal of the figure, it has a really good amount of things going for it. It has really awesome hair, got great coloring and shading. The figure's face could be a little bit reworked in my opinion. The outfit is very cute. It has small detail, especially underneath the skirt, which is a nice added bonus. And then there's also a great amount of movement in the skirt. The blouse has tons of different texture and tension on it. The body itself is really well sculpted. Main issue just being the hair having those little loose bits, which are well hidden anyway, so not a big deal. The pose is really good, harkens to the fact that she is moving forward in her life, and Twilight Sparkle is fantastic. It just looks great as a pony too. So this is a really good figure in the Bishoujo line for My Little Pony overall, and it deserves a 9 out of 10 for overall appeal. Once we tally the score up, that leaves her sitting at 86% for the figure for her final score. How do they do this? Seriously. I don't understand. How does it stay in the base? And if you like this review, I would say come check out my other reviews. I did Applejack last week. You can watch that one right after the link. And as well, you can check out Sunset Shimmer's review. I will be getting to the rest of the My Little Pony Bishoujos fairly soon, so be expecting that after these episodes. That does it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye!